Hey all, Tony Bing here, hello and welcome to another guide video for Marvel Strike Force. Now, this is a guide video that I've actually been intending on working on for quite some time, but I've been wanting to find out the best format for it, and really I'm wanting to make sure that I've got all my strategy right before I actually done the video. So this particular video will be all about how you are able to rank up in Battlegrounds. Now, in the last two Battlegrounds I've managed to break 1 million, so in the Quake Arena it actually came in 14th spot with 1.1 million, and I'm currently working on the Iron Fist Arena that's running at the moment. As you can see, way up at milestone 14, just over 1 million, and we've got 12 hours left. So how do we actually get scores like this? Now we'll break it down into 3 sections in this video. So you've got your Battleground Charges, where I'll talk about how you actually use them. You then have your general strategy of how you actually want to use different teams to work your way up the tiers, and then finally I'll show off some of the teams that I've actually been using to work my way up the tiers. But first off, we'll have a look at the Battleground Charges and how you use and also accrue these. So your Battleground Charges are essentially the energy that you use in order to fight within the battleground. Now, every 6 hours after you use a particular character, you can actually use them again for free and it won't cost you any Battleground Charges. So personally, the strategy I use is that when I get up in the morning, I'm on the way to work at 8 in the morning, I'll run through my whole team and I'll use all the free characters, and then at 4 o'clock again, once I get my break, I can then use them again for free, and then finally at 10 o'clock, normally when I get to sit down, I can then use them once more. So that's 3 times per day I can run through my entire roster and it's not costing me any charges at all. Now, if you're exceptionally dedicated to the game, you could use it up to 4 times per day. So let's say it would be at midnight, 6 in the morning, 12 in the afternoon, and then 6 in the morning again. That's for the really dedicated players there. Now, when it comes to actually spending the charges, so you've used the hero and you want to use them again, so it will cost you 5 charges. You've got a team of 5 players, so that means it costs you 25 charges every time you use a team that you've already used within the last 5 hours. Now, after you do that 5 times, the cost actually jumps up to 10 per individual character, meaning it would cost you 50 in total, and if you've done a further 5 matches it would jump up again, but you most certainly do not want to do that. Now, how do you accrue the charges? You can get 200 from your dailies, and you can get 210, that's 3 times a week, from your challenges. Now, we now know how to actually use the characters for free, we know how to accrue the charges, but when do you want to use those charges that you have accrued? So this particular strategy we run over then is one that I find has been working very well for me. So first off, what I do is you've got a new battleground, you've got to work yourself from tier 1 all the way up to tier 8. Now what I'll do is I'll scroll all the way down to the bottom and I'll start using my weakest teams to build myself up the tiers. Now when it comes to every 4th match in a tier, that can really be quite difficult. So I would say use one of your stronger teams, and I've actually got a particular team I use for that I'll show off later in this video. So you're doing that, you're working your way up the tiers. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to go using any team twice until the end of the day. So you'll be doing it at 8 in the morning working up the tiers, 4 in the afternoon, and then when it gets at 10 at night you should hopefully be round about maybe tier 5 or tier 6 if you've got a pretty large roster, and it's then at that point you've got a nice multiplier and you can start using your more powerful teams to go up those last few tiers, and you'll be getting a nice amount of points with the multiplier as well. Now once the next day actually rolls over, any teams that would potentially cost you 10 charges will jump back down to 5, and you get a further 5 attempts at using that team before it will jump up again. So you just want to keep rotating it in that manner. In regards to the teams you want to use, let's check them out as well. Just before we actually do break down these teams, I will mention that you're wanting to have 3 strong teams in total, and that would mean that you can spend your battleground currency rotating through these 3 teams, and at no point will you have to use a team that's going to cost you 50 currency. You'll just be using it when they cost you 25, so that's making the most optimum use of your Battleground Charges. Now, it can be pretty difficult to get 15 characters that are powerful and all work in separate teams and all synergise well together, but that's why I'm showcasing them here because these 3 teams have been working really well and clearing tier 8 for me. So the first one is your Avengers team. So you've got Cap, who's providing energy to your team, and you've also got Black Widow, who's speeding up slower characters such as Thor, making them really powerful as well. And then you've got Hawkeye and Quake, who are all round pretty awesome. We then have our villain summoner team. So summons are very powerful at the moment, and with Kingpin you can get lots of assists because they're running with other villains. And then you've got your 2 one-shot characters. You've got Elektra and Winter Soldier. They're very good, so if you've got a dangerous target like Quake or even like Yondu for example, you can take them out at the start of the match and then start to concentrate on other characters. And you've also got your cleanse on Elektra and Yondu, which can be great if you've got tanks like Drax in the opposite team. The final team we'll look at here really is pretty insane, and this is the one I use for tier 4 matches because they absolutely demolish the enemies. They normally do it in 1 turn, so it all revolves around the fact you've got the Merc Lieutenant, who will speed up and add defense up to the majority of your team, and then the 4 remaining characters we've got in the team have all got AoE on their first turn. So it's an amazing combination. At one point later in the future I'll probably do a video on this particular combination to show off as well, but that is everything covered. So with this you know how to gain your charges, you know how to use them, and hopefully you know what teams you want to be using as well. So fingers crossed this will help you get climbing up those charts, and also fingers crossed the score I've got with Iron Fist will be enough to get those 100 shards. We'll need to see. But as always, I hope this video has been useful. Any questions feel free to ask, and I'll see you all again soon.